We turn now to this COVID-19 season when so many people are suffering and local churches are trying to find ways to help. Those in what's known as the disaster ministry have been reaching out to people in crisis for years, and they've developed something called spiritual first aid to connect people one-on-one and meet needs. Dr. Jamie Ayton at the Humanitarian Disaster Institute at Wheaton College wrote the Disaster Ministry Handbook, and he's here now to explain how this concept of spiritual first aid works. Dr. Ayton, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
You have research that demonstrates how powerful this concept of spiritual first aid can be, and it's really very simple at the same time. It revolves around meeting people's core needs. What are those core needs?
One of the things that we found through our research here at the Humanitarian Disaster Institute is that the main times when we go through a major disaster, that it often leaves us with unmet needs, and that without being able to address those, that leads to high levels of distress. And those 5 core needs, the way that we teach it is through the BLESS method. So B standing for belonging needs, L standing for livelihood needs, E for emotional needs, S for spiritual needs, and S for safety needs. And that it's important to recognize that all of these are interconnected, and that when we help address one need, that it ends up helping across all of those different areas of our lives.
And break down a little bit how this process works. It sounds like it's adaptable to a quick conversation or a longer time spent with someone who's suffering.
Absolutely. One of the things that we found is that by being able to provide positive spiritual support to one another is one of the best ways and one of the most effective ways that we can help. So even if it's just having a basic message where we're sending a text to someone or a quick phone call, that can help them to remember that they're not alone. And the way that you can help is by doing really 4 A methods. One being attend. What do we notice about going on in that other person's life? Asking inquisitive questions to find out where those unmet needs are, and then acting by providing spiritual support, helping to foster lament, getting them connected to basic resources in their community, and also making sure that we're protecting them. And then if we're able to continue to repeat that cycle of help.
Tell us research-wise, what do we know about how effective this actually is?
Well, one of the things that we've seen across the research that we've done on different interventions and from the last 15 years of research, we've seen that it really helps to buffer against overall trauma and anxiety. That the goal of this intervention isn't to put somebody's life completely back together again, so to speak, but rather to put them on a trajectory towards health and well-being.
All right, Dr. Ayton, a lot of practical tips for right now at this point in time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.